Good morning and welcome to the second tropical update from Cayman Hurricane Center. This morning, this is a very early morning. It is now the 18th of May 2020, coming off the 17th and now on to the 18th. We are discussing Tropical Storm Arthur, which again we were tracking tropical depression number 1. It has strengthened into tropical storm Arthur, and the system is going up along the U.S. East Coast, and is currently a threat to North Carolina and the Carolina Outer Banks. So let's get right to it, shall we? Here is the map from the National Hurricane Center, and as you can see here, we do have our tropical storm Arthur right here, right along the North Carolina coastline. Not too far off now from the coast the storm is. The outer bands are already giving impacts to the Carolinas, and we do go forwards. Would like to point out that the tropical storm right now it definitely moved over some cooler sea surface temperatures and some not so great environment. However, now it has found itself over the Gulf Stream, and it is over low wind shear, and the environment is more or less fairly good for the system, and we are expecting that the storm will strengthen as we do go forwards in time. So let's go ahead and look at the satellite imagery. This is the visible shortwave satellite imagery. And as we could see, some very interesting features here. Of course, if you look closely, we have our center of circulation now starting to be tucked away underneath the convective mass here that's now starting to rebuild. This was partially or mostly naked, the center of circulation, throughout this afternoon, this evening, but it's now starting to cover itself up with the convective mass. Not only that, we could clearly see in the low to mid-level cloud deck the where the bands of the storm stands, and we could definitely see that's already impacting portions of South Carolina and North Carolina, and we could definitely see these spiral bands starting to come up into each other here, into this convective mass here, and we're even seeing the convective masses building up along these bands here. Another way of looking at this is in the colored infrared satellite imagery, which we have up here. And again, our center of circulation is located right here underneath, starting to become underneath this convective mass. Notice how we're starting to see blow up here just on the northern section here of the circulation again, with a bit up here, and we're starting to see some more redeveloping along the bands of the storm here. You can see that up along here, and then the band spreading out here. And as we do go through the night, conditions will continue to get a little bit better as it moves deeper into the Gulf Stream, and there is very low shear on this system, so it should allow it to develop, especially as we continue through the night into the morning, going through terminal maximum, which should help to flourish the thunderstorm development. Again, speaking about shear, here is the shear map. And as you can see, our storm located just offshore of the Carolinas. And again, 10 to 15 knots wind shear, very good amount of shear, and it's not screaming on top of it, as you can see on the northern side here, where there's 20 plus knots of shear. It's in fairly good conditions. We do have a upper level ridge that is building overhead of the system, helping to give an outflow for the system. So indeed, it is a fairly favorable conditions for the system. It's not perfect, but it's not too terribly bad either. In terms of the sea surface temperature anomalies, here we are at the latest map, and as you could see, our storm more or less located right in here. Of course, it puts itself right there into the Gulf Stream, and as you can see, very, very warm temperatures that are occurring on the Gulf Stream. Just north of that, however, we do have substantially cooler waters that are just off of the northern outer banks of the Carolinas, going up through the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. As the system moves either close or over North Carolina, it will be encountering these little less than favorable conditions, and the storm will likely weaken and transition into an extratropical system. Also noting that there is another larger scale system over the United States, which will also do some interacting with this storm. Likely we'll be seeing a much larger rainfall event occurring over the eastern parts and the east coast of the United States. So yes, indeed, we're going to be watching this very, very closely as we do progress forward. Again, noting that we could very well be talking about a potential landfall, likely anywhere along this area here of the outer banks of the Carolinas. If any shift of the center of circulation to the west may result on a landfall further to the west here, any further to the east may result in the landfall locations up along this area, or even potentially missing the Outer Banks altogether and skimming by as such. Of course, something that we'll be needing to keep an eye on through the overnight hours into the morning. Do be advised, though, those of you in the Carolinas, this is not the time to be preparing. This is not the time to be out. This is the time now to be hunkered down, staying safe, not being out there is the best thing to do for now. Once the storm passes, then you should move around, take a look at the area, see what is going on. Again, I'll be back later today with a further update of Arthur, as well as keep an eye out later this week. We'll be having further tropical discussions, talking about the overall hurricane season ahead. Also, we'll be doing a video indicating our hurricane season outlook for 2020 from Cayman Hurricane Center, and that will take place at the close to the end of this month of May, and we'll be getting ready for the official start of hurricane season, which is June 1st. Again, that's it from me. Take care, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you on the next video.